Welcome to the Success in Africa podcast with Dr. Modupe, your weekly dose of leadership vitamins to make you successful in Africa.
Hello and welcome to the Success in Africa podcast, episode 15. My name is Dr. Modupe Taylor Pierce, and I am a scholar and practitioner of leadership and organizational development. Simply put, I study what makes people successful. I have been doing this for 3 decades with a particular focus on people in Africa. And in this podcast, I will share stories, lessons, and insights about people having success in Africa. Why this podcast? Because I am sick and tired of Africa being the poorest continent in the world. We are blessed with the greatest resource, young people. Africa will soon have the largest number of working age people in the world. And when these people achieve success, watch out. Africa's wealth will be unparalleled. Why? Because I don't know of too many Africans whose goal in life it is to die poor. You see, success in life is simply the achievement of a predetermined goal. Whether that goal is creating employment for 10,000 people in your company or transforming your country into a high-income country, this podcast has been created to help you to achieve it. So if you are serious about having success in Africa, I want you to subscribe to this channel. If you like this video after you've watched it, please click the like button. This podcast is brought to you courtesy of BCA Leadership, the largest leadership enhancement company in Africa. If you have questions that you want me to answer after watching this video, just log on to BCA Online. The link is on the screen, and post your questions there. That is where I will respond to your questions. Today, we're continuing with our series on entrepreneurial success in the business sector. We are exploring creative solutions to thorny problems. And there are few thornier problems in Africa than the problem of getting young people to find a means of generating income for themselves. Every country in Africa has this problem. 2 young people in Sierra Leone faced this kind of problem after years of experiencing the protection and comfort of care of SOS Children's Villages. Their names are Michael Williams and Mohammed Soare. Both of them grew up in the children's village and benefited from the accommodation, health care, education, and social protection that was provided for them since they were very young. As they grew old enough to graduate from the village, they became afraid of departing from the village because they knew that they would be without some of these protections that were freely provided for them in the village. Michael even claimed that he would get sick from mosquito bites if he was forced to leave. However, they, like many of their fellow youth beneficiaries, did leave the village and were supported by SOS Children's Villages, which paid their tuition fees for tertiary education and provided a living stipend for them throughout the tertiary education years and for a few years after. But even this living stipend could not last forever, and Michael and Mohammed knew this. And from the moment they left the village, they worried about what would happen when the inevitable termination of the stipend would occur. How would they eat? How would they live? Michael decided that the smart way to fend for himself was to start saving his living stipend. He decided that he would force himself to live off just a portion of the living stipend that was given to him, and he encouraged his friend Mohammed to do the same. They even established a bank account where they would keep the savings money so that they would not be tempted to touch it. Unlike many of their friends who enjoyed the pleasures of young life spending their SOS stipend in full each month, these 2 futuristic thinkers tightened their belts to adjust to simpler living to build up a small savings nest. Michael then started to use some of the savings to provide loans to a few people who happened to mention to him that they were in a financial bind. He carefully decided whom he would loan money to and started small to ensure that he could collect his money back with interest. He was successful in getting his money back with the interest, and his days as a solo microfinance institution began. Michael began to use some of his savings to buy farming tools. Mohammed began to use some of his savings to buy farming tools to farm cassava on a plot of land that he was able to secure. Michael, on the other hand, expanded his entrepreneurial ventures to buying and selling palm oil and discovered that he could turn his money faster through this venture. You see, both of them were engaging and utilizing the money to do small business on a small scale. Both of them, they would compare notes with each other and ideas to support each other's learning, and they yearned to do more, but they did not know how to successfully scale up their business up the value chain. At the same time, the director of the SOS Children's Villages, Sophie Ndong, had a thorny problem as well. SOS had unwittingly created a mindset of dependency through the continued care and provision for the young people who had grown up in the villages. And after these young people had grown into their mid-20s, they were afraid and unable to live without the support from SOS. This led to difficult conversations with youth beneficiaries who would make passionate pleas for continued support long after they were eligible for such support. Sophie knew that as well-intentioned as the support that her organization was giving to the young people was, there would have to be a change in approach for these beneficiaries to transition from dependent children to independent young people. She knew that the young people needed to find employment or create employment for themselves, and given the current economic climate in Sierra Leone, she believed that equipping them with the skills to create employment for themselves was a better strategy to employ. She enlisted the help of BCA leadership to provide the skills transfer to a small group of youth beneficiaries. Michael and Mohammed were two of the beneficiaries selected to participate in this project. Michael and Mohammed were delighted to participate in this program, and over the course of 6 months, they learned about creating value, competitive advantages, raising capital, leveraging networks, financial projections, sales, and marketing. They leveraged their new skills to expand their businesses up the value chain and were so impressive in their demonstration of business competence that in addition to the base capital infusion that was provided for all the beneficiaries who participated in this project, they secured additional capital for their businesses due to their excellence. Michael has already started expanding his palm oil trading business into a processing plant with an innovative palm oil pumping station that will draw customers due to the ease and convenience of supply. Mohammed is expanding his farming area and expanding his business into the processing of cassava into gari. These two entrepreneurs found a solution to their problem of survival by disciplining themselves to save money when they could have spent it enjoying life. They also did it by starting their entrepreneurial ventures with the little bit that they had. They also did it by sharing lessons with each other about starting their businesses and by taking full advantage of a learning opportunity to expand their knowledge and gain business entrepreneurial skills to transform their business. You see, during the program, these two young men never missed a single class or learning opportunity, and they took full advantage of the opportunity to create new networks and meet new people that the entrepreneurship program brought into their orbit. They were focused on their objective of growing their business. They were disciplined in their approach to growing their business, and they were persistent in their quest to put their best foot forward during the presentations. I have little doubt that compared to their classmates, these two are already successful. And in the next 10 years, their businesses will grow exponentially and they will become successful in their own eyes. You see, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Michael and Mohammed were prepared because they had already gotten off the starting blocks in creating employment for themselves by saving their money and deploying it in small ways to solve other people's problems. They recognized instinctively that value is created when somebody else's problem is solved, and a business is created when the person who has a problem is able and willing to pay a price for the solution that is greater than the cost of creating the solution. From this knowledge, the young men engaged in finding problems worth solving and providing the solutions. They didn't spend their time moaning about resources they did not have. When they discovered a problem whose solution required resources that they could not marshal, they quickly discarded that problem and sought another one. They challenged themselves to use what they had to create value. And in doing so, they prepared themselves for the opportunity that came in the form of customers, investors, and advisors that they met through the program that was created by Sofindong and executed by BCA leadership. Becoming a successful entrepreneur in Africa requires you to think unconventionally and be focused on creating solutions. Anyone can complain about problems. Africa is full of them. And if you want to spend your time moaning about what is wrong in Africa and the things that you don't have that you need, you will find an entire stadium full of people willing to join you in that pity party. But that is not the way to success. The way to success is to find a creative solution to the problems that exist. It starts first by believing that there is a solution and then pushing yourself to find it, which involves using whatever you have, your time, your talents, your relationships, your money. No matter how little you think you have, it is worth using and leveraging. When you make progress in creating a solution, no matter how small, and people start using and buying your solution, the opportunity will present itself. It may be an investor, a training program, a supplier, an advisor, or a customer, but someone will approach you with the resources that you need to take your business to the next level. I have seen this happen many, many times. If you are waiting for someone to create the solution for you before you get started, you will wait until the second coming of Christ. So get creative. Find solutions. Use what you have. Opportunity is waiting for you to show that you are prepared for success. And if it finds you prepared, it will grab you the same way it grabbed Michael and Mohammed. Folks, this brings us to the end of our podcast for today. I hope you've enjoyed learning with me about entrepreneurial success in the business sector. I look forward to reading your comments and feedback about this podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Tell your friends about it, because together we can transform our beloved continent. I'll see you next week.
Tomorrow belongs to those people who prepare for it today. See you next week.